overwhelming, and it can be a very daunting task. But Simpleology has been an invaluable tool for me on a daily basis by helping to organize, this is what I need to get done today in order to help move my business forward.
That's the great thing about Simpleology is it's a very flexible system. Anything that you want, you can use it to find a way and stay on track until you get there. And that being the most important part is that it keeps you doing it until you arrive.
So it's very common, especially in the startup phase of a business, where you have just so much information overload coming in and you have all these tasks that you want to get started on. But a lot of time you're really just spinning your wheels towards something that may or may not be a core imperative for your business efforts.
And so it's just had such a massive effect on my life in that way. I've been using it for about 5 years now, maybe 6. And those are just some of the benefits I've seen. There's even more.
And I've experienced that a lot in the last few weeks, but one thing that's really helped me sort through that is the Simpleology Start My Day and the Brain Dump. So it's really helped me to sort things out using the high me method, which, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, is high impact, minimal effort. So that's helped me to realize what is going to have the strongest impact on my business growth.
I mean, back then I used to have incredible financial difficulties. I remember, gosh, a lot of the time, only food I could really afford was something like lettuce and peanut butter. Just to pick a head. And now I've been on to become a successful consultant in copywriting, doing those over the internet. So I've been able to do that and keep the trip going. I mean, over the last 5 years, I've lived on over 4 continents, visited at least 20 or 30 countries. I suspect it's even more. I don't have my passport with me checked.
So using this and going through the morning brain dump, as they call it, I'm able to really evaluate these tasks and think, all right, how much impact is this really going to have on my business growth? Or how urgent is this that I get it done today? So if it's not at that top of the list, I can move it down, I can deliberate on it, I can reschedule it. Or if I'm working, one thing that I have noticed is I have a lot of incoming information that could come off as an easy distraction, and I used to be very easily distracted.
And it's turning life into an incredible adventure, just because it keeps going and it keeps going. You keep getting to experience all these great things, and not just moving to these places, but you can go on trips in them. I mean, I was able to build a business myself that afforded me the ability to go off for 3 months at a time without working, and just go on a backpacking trip or on a sailing trip or whatever comes my way.
And using the Simpleology Dreamcatcher, all I do is I take that incoming thought, throw it in the Dreamcatcher. It's not going to derail me from what I'm working on right now. And if it's really important, I can come back to it later on when I finish all my other tasks for the day.
But what I really want to say though is you could experience whatever you want to in your life as well. Simpleology can get you there. It's not like most forms of self-development where it's like you hear from the guru and he shows you how to emulate him. Well, if you've ever tried that, it usually doesn't make you any happier. Emulating the guru doesn't really work. What does work is finding out what you personally want and getting it. And that's where Simpleology comes in. No matter what your goal is, it shows you how to get there.
So Simpleology has really helped me to streamline my daily business practices so that I'm working on consistent growth. And it's provided me a clear and consistent path towards operating a successful business.
And I can really attest to that because I've used it to achieve so many things, more than I could really list in a short period of time. And so I highly recommend it, not just to you, but I've recommended it to hundreds of people by now. I think so many people I meet while I'm traveling, anybody who's having a motivation problem or a problem with clarity about how to arrive at a goal, so many things. Simpleology is really your starting block. From there, you can take it in.
So I just want to say thank you to all the Simpleology staff for creating such an awesome program.
Hi, and so I've been using Simpleology now for a couple of years. It's fantastic. Initially I was just using it as a to-do list and to keep me away from Outlook and multiple reminders and tasks and appointments, and just simplify my life in that kind of respect.
You log in every day, It's like getting into the cockpit of your plane and steering yourself where you want to go in life. I don't want you to view what I'm saying as just me talking about my success story. I want you to start thinking about your success story, the one that's on the way right now.
But more recently, I've started using the more advanced features. So I've been tracking my progress to targets and trying to automate the actual to-do list creation process in the morning, which is fantastic.
I have been using Simpleology for several months now, and it has helped me with my daily organization and planning tremendously.
It's saved 3 hours. It just keeps me focused and on point throughout the day.
I'm a PhD student, and as such, I oftentimes have to work on ideas that are initially extremely vague. It's usually some intimidating task because of the lack of a clear path initially. Such situations can deter one from acting and lead to chronic procrastination. And this is where Simpleology comes in. Simpleology allows me to break through this initial paralysis and systematically chip away at large projects by focusing on tiny steps every single day.
Simpleology will free your brain from all those tasks floating around in your head. It'll help you prioritize because you know it's important. It'll keep the distractions at bay. And at the end of the day, you can look back and see what progress you made on what you needed to have done.
Simpleology allows me to create this temporary tunnel vision by focusing on the daily tasks only and ignoring the noise. The only thing that requires a little bit of effort is getting the habit of logging into your Simpleology account every morning, and that's not really much of an effort. The rest starts sorting itself out thereafter.
I couldn't live without it, to be honest, but I think the main reason I keep using Simpleology is because of what happens when I don't use it on a regular basis. I'll start to become distracted. I'll start mixing around, doing things that fall on my to-do list. Maybe the browsing, that kind of thing. And eventually I become totally unproductive and it all spirals down to a huge mess. And that's when I start to realise that we need to put Simpleology back to our life. So yes, and that's why I'm going to keep on using it. Branch, cheers.
It's a fantastic product and I highly recommend it.
All right, you guys, and we are live. This is Mark Joyner here with Ryan Healy, and welcome to the Simpleology Live Hangout. And tonight, we're going to talk about speed life hacks. Speed life hacks. I have a really interesting one loaded up, ready to tell you guys about, and I'm kind of curious to hear what Ryan has to say about this because I'm pretty sure Ryan has some pretty cool, super nerdy life hacky things like I do that are probably ready to go in his back pocket.
I hope I do.
I'm pretty sure you do. I've witnessed these in our day-to-day interactions. So before we get to that, so for those of you guys who are not Simpleology members who are tuning in elsewhere, if you are not a Simpleology member, how dare you? You can go to simpleology.com, sign up for a free trial. We will give you priority in these live hangouts for your questions. But you guys are more than welcome to comment. If you are watching on social, we may or may not read your comments if they're witty and funny and entertaining and algo juice. Even if they're insults, we might share them anyway. I encourage it to juice the algorithm. This is the game we're in today, sadly. It's all about the engagement. Half kidding. It's half anyway. That's a longer conversation we can unpack. But Simpleology is all about the simple science of getting what you want. So if you want to get the things that you want, sign up for Simpleology. We will show you how to refine the way you think and the way you operate on a day-to-day basis. So you will get those things a lot faster and with a lot less effort. It's all about high impact, minimal effort. And that's a good segue into speed life hacks. So there are things, in my opinion, and very curious to hear what everybody has to say about this. I think that there are ways that you can operate on a day-to-day basis that are going to have huge compounding effects on your life. For example, I have a little habit. I'm traveling right now, so I don't have this habit as consistent in this moment as I do when I'm hunkered down in a normal day-to-day location, although I'm endeavoring to still do it. But every 30 minutes, I will get up from my computer. I have a timer. I usually use a wind-up timer. Right now, because I'm traveling, I'm using my phone to do it. But normally, I will have a physical wind-up timer on my desk. And when I sit down, I will crank that bad boy up to 30 minutes, put it down. And when it goes off, I will get up from the computer as quickly as I can, maybe finish a thought. It's a little dangerous because if I start finishing a thought, I might just keep going. And then before I know it, 4 hours have passed. So I try to use that as a trigger to get up immediately and move my body. I'll get outside and I'll do some exercise in the sun, specifically a protocol called Grease the Groove. If you research that, I believe Pavel Tsatsouline is the guy who started it. I don't know if he invented it, but he's at least the guy who popularized it. Also the guy who popularized kettlebells in the world. He was the first guy to bring them over. Him and my buddy, John Duquesne from Dragon Door Publishing. If you guys ever read fitness magazines decades ago, you would have seen their ads all over the place. Pavel says that strength is not just a muscular function, but it's also a neurological function. And you can train yourself. You can train your nervous system for strength. So I won't get too deep into the protocol, but basically you find a weight that is challenging, but not taxing. And you do about 5 reps of that. And then you wait. You need to wait at least 10 minutes. I put 30 minutes in between sessions. Now, if you do that and you deliberately don't increase the weight for many weeks, he said that what happens is your nervous system adapts and suddenly you get massive strength gains. I'll leave it to you guys. This isn't the point of teaching Grease the Groove to talk about this, but you can research that. If you know a little bit about nervous system myelination, it makes a lot of sense. And there are a lot of strength trainers out there that use Grease the Groove as a sort of a low stress protocol that will give paradoxically rapid strength gains. And part of the benefit is that I feel much better. Pavel says that you should walk out of the gym feeling more energized than you did when you went in. Now, I do this in the sun, and then I'll do a little bit of rebounding to kind of stimulate the lymphatic system a little bit more in between the movement. And then I'll do some movement, just like whatever my body feels like doing. I think the body has some instinctual wisdom in there where it knows, hey, if you just kind of let your body tell you how to move and you move randomly, you're going to move in interesting ways that maybe your body needs. Animals seem to know this. Animals do all kinds of weird movement that seems strange, but they're also in the wild, when they're not domesticated, they tend to be quite healthy. Could be survivorship bias because the weak ones get killed off, but anyway, whole other conversation. So why do I do this, and why is this a speed life hack? Well, that combination of things lessens the damage that happens from sitting, which is, I think, pretty extreme. When you sit for too long in one block, your body can develop all kinds of dysfunction through certain muscles weakening, through stiffness. There's a whole host of things that could go wrong. So that solves that problem to a certain degree. Doesn't eliminate it entirely, but it helps. It gives a competing input into the body that sort of helps counteract some of the negative effects of chronic sitting, if you will. Then I do the Grease the Groove, which has what Pavel calls a tonic effect on your mood and on your just overall sense of vigor. And then I'm out in the sun. I'm a big believer in sun. I don't use sunblock. Whole other conversation. We can get into that. I'm curious to hear Ryan's thoughts on that. And then the rebounding, and then sort of the instinctive movement. Now that allows me, I think, and I haven't done a perfect study of this beyond my N=1 solo study by myself, but my personal experience is that I tend to get way more done on days when I follow that. Now, compare that to me just sitting there in front of the computer for a few hours and just smashing myself into the ground. The quality of my work tends to go down, and I'm probably going to get a lower volume of work done on that day. Now, that is a very simple speed life hack, in my opinion. So to me, it's all about, can you compress things into the same time? Can you get multiple objectives complete with the same activity? And that very simple pattern allows me to conquer all sorts of things. And we could get even deeper into why I think that that's beneficial. But that is my, probably, if I were to just reach one from the hip and then say, what's my best speed life hack? That might be it.
Yeah.
Ryan, what do you think, man?
That's a good one. Yeah, it's a good one. I've never been as disciplined about getting up every 30 minutes per se, but I do try to notice when I've been stagnant for too long, and get up and just walk out into the house and, say hi to the kids or Stephanie, or just check in. And occasionally that turns into, throwing some stuff in recycling or, whatever. But just to get up and get steps in, instead of just sitting and sitting and sitting. Something we've talked about maybe a month or 6 weeks ago. I have what's called the X3 system, and that's probably one of my speed life hacks now. With my broken clavicle, unfortunately, I'm unable to do it right now. But with the X3 system, you can get a full body workout in about 15 to 20 minutes. And the science shows that bands encourage hypertrophy more effectively than free weights, and also without risking joint damage, which as you get older, that's something that's more important. It's pretty easy at a certain age and beyond. If you're lifting heavy, you can tweak something even if you're fit, right? And so I also have the vibration plate. So when I'm doing the exercises, I'm actually on a vibration plate.
Oh, wow.
And runs under the plate and then up. So it's like, I don't know if you've ever stood on like a heavy
I love them.
plate where it's like, and you feel it, from your head to your toes. And what that's doing is that's causing all of your body, like micro tensions, it's causing different muscles to flex and balance while you're standing on the plate. I think it may also do a little bit of what you're talking about, activating the lymphatic system. Oh, definitely. Because I know rebounding does that as well, like getting the lymph to move through the body. So that's something that I've done consistently since 2022. And even if I only fit it in once a week, I seem to maintain my strength week to week to week, which is encouraging. I'm 47. And I know if I was doing free weights and I was only doing once a week, I would probably see a decline. I'd probably see, not maintaining. But I seem to be able to use the same heavy bands and do the same number of reps each week with even only doing it once. Obviously my ideal is to do more than that. But I have a lot of competing priorities with what I like to do. So between cycling and rowing and X3.
Well, dude, I had never heard of anybody using the X3 or any of those variable resistance trainers together with a vibration plate. I didn't know you had one. That's cool. I have used them in multiple contexts over, I guess that technology kind of started coming out about, I don't know, maybe 17 years ago. And I remember some places having it, and I remember feeling just a really wonderful effect from using it. And I think there is some pretty good evidence to show that just moving on the vibration plate, that in itself will stimulate some muscle growth. Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. So, I mean, imagine taking a heavy band and then doing squats on a vibration plate.
That's awesome.
And then you're doing those squats to failure, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that takes 30 to 40 reps to get there to the point where you're just really struggling to move the band. But yeah, my chiropractor also has a vibration plate in his office. A similar heavy duty one. His is a little bit larger, I think, it's like a square pad instead of a rectangular pad, but still a powerful motor. And he's a believer in it as well, and the benefit of doing that.
Yeah. What protocol are you using when you do the X3 bands? I know Jocwish has. I remember hearing about it. My buddy Tony Huge, who's a big, performance enhancement drugs guy. I'm not going to advocate those. Full disclosure, I do use testosterone replacement therapy, but I am not. Tony Huge, Tony says a day natty is a day wasted. And I'm like, I love you, man, but I don't know if I'm going to drink that Kool-Aid or not. But
Yeah.
amazingly brilliant guy, and he knows his stuff with that. But I think he's friends with Jocwish as well, and he's a fan of that.
Yeah.
And I know Anthony Chafee was also advocating the X3 too. There are a lot of people out there who testify that protocol works really well, and it's a good low stress way for.
Yeah.
I'm 57, so I'm all about any way I can do it without damaging anything.
Right. Yeah. So you were asking what the protocol is, or?
Yeah. Is it, I know it has to, like, it's slower negatives, or there's all sorts of stuff that he bakes in there, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's more like a 2 up, 3 down, or something like that, a little bit slower on the decline than the incline, but a little more explosive on the contraction, and then more controlled on what's the reverse of the contraction? Detraction.
Yeah.
I don't know what that word is. And there are, okay, so you go a max of 40 reps. I think minimum is 15. So you pick the band where you can do at least 15, but if you're hitting 40, you should probably go up a band.
Okay.
And that's how you know when it's time to progress.
Yeah.
And as you do each set, you do the standard protocol is just to do 1 set to failure.
Right.
So you go all the way to failure, and failure means you're doing partial reps. Like, so if you were doing a bicep curl, you'd be a full contraction here, but then at the end, failure is you're moving it like a couple inches.
Yeah.
You can't hardly move it anymore. That's failure.
Yeah.
So, and it's weird because you don't get the same, you ever done free weights and like your muscles just hurt so bad the next day?
Oh yeah.
You don't really get that with bands.
Really?
No, you don't get that. And Jocwish actually says that can actually limit muscle growth when you damage them too much.
Well, that certainly fits in with the simple. If anybody here has done Simpleology 103, we have this. And if you guys are inside Simpleology, you can see the philosophy behind it. We have the high energy habit. And the idea is increase eustress, which is the positive stressor, decrease distress, and then regularly de-stress to help your body recover. But then it has the caveat that any eustress can become distress, right? I mean, you can run for a while, but then if you just, keep running and running and running, you're going to get to a point where your body is punished and damaged. And,
right.
There's the law of diminishing returns, right?
Right.
So that's interesting. I know Mike Mentzer. Am I saying his last name right? Mentzer. He was one of the old bodybuilding guys, had high intensity training, and that was a 1 rep to failure protocol as well. And he, I believe, won Mr. Olympia and trained a few Mr. Olympia winners using the HIT method. But his 1 rep to failure was, it was partner assisted, so that, that you had guys there, helping you do forced reps. And then they would do the prison reps, as they call them, which the incomplete reps. So the prison reps are kind of like you're doing a very, narrow bottom of the range. When you can no longer do the full range, then you're burned out, but you could do a little mini one at the bottom. You call them prison reps for whatever reason.
I tried that once in my early 20s. I tried the 1 rep method, which was super slow. Like, I think it was like 60 seconds up and 60 seconds down or something.
Yeah.
So, you got to figure out the weight that you're using. And it's just like this really slow.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't love it. I didn't notice any significant results from it either. So
I don't remember if Mike Mentor was one set or one rep. Yeah, there are some guys who are like, make that one rep really, really count, which
Yeah.
is, yeah, it's kind of masochistic when you look at it because it's, yeah, I mean, you really, really have to smash yourself with that.
And then people look at you weird in the gym when you're doing that too.
Yeah.
They're like, what is he doing?
That's a crazy one.
We-
So well, it's all about, so if we're talking about compressing time where you're getting multiple benefit, that was a really surprising one there with the vibration plate plus the variable resistance bands. That's fascinating. I'm very curious to see if
thanks.
that's ever been studied. Is that your own thing, or did you hear about that anywhere?
No, Jake Wish sells a vibration plate that goes with the X3 system. It's an add-on.
Oh, so I saw that he had a plate, but I didn't know it was a vibration plate. Okay.
Well, they are just regular plates. You know, you get a standard plate with the system, and they have like an upgraded plate now too that you can get. But they actually have a separate vibration plate, which still has, you know, the custom plate with the band channel on top, right? And then that just slides, it just nests into the top of the vibration thing, so that when you apply weight, it starts vibrating. Yeah.
I would imagine the vibration version is not portable like the normal X3 is, right?
No, it's heavy. So it's something you would use at home. And then when you travel, you can still just take that plate off and then throw it in a bag and, you know, just take the top plate off, right?
That's pretty smart, man, because it's still the same platform, right?
Yep. Yeah. So you can still take it portable with you. You just can't take the vibration, the big bass, vibration bass. I saw this comment come in from James Chapman. I thought I'd read that real quick.
Show that here.
Oh yeah, there you go. He says, I'm 58, lifting in the gym. I love this info with the bands. I have a set of bands, but haven't been using them. I'm a Simpleology member, but not finding this broadcast in the member area.
Oh, well, I've got to fix that, man. I gotta pull up the Mr. Spock demo account here. While you're addressing that, I'm gonna call up the demo account and see if I can show everyone where to find the broadcast inside the Simpleology channel.
Just a quick point about James' comment. He says, I have a set of bands, but haven't been using them. I'm not sure which kind of bands he has. A lot of people have heard about training with bands, and then they see these, you know, chintzy little like hollow tube bands, right? Or like little clips on the end. You ever seen these kits?
Oh yeah.
And the bands aren't very strong.
Yeah.
And they feel weird too. I mean, one of my brothers got into bands pre X3, and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
But the X3 system uses, you know, rectangular, really thick, heavy duty bands, and they're very different than the other band system that most people have been exposed to.
Yeah.
So I only point that out, so like don't dismiss it if you've tried girly tube bands.
That's right. Well, I gotta say, I'm actually a fan of all sorts of bands. I've seen them used, even the girly tube bands, for really good therapeutic purposes. My buddy Greg Payne, who is a world-class trainer, he's trained some of the America's Cup team guys and other pro athletes. He had a guy who was the champion of the coast to coast race, which is sort of like if you could imagine an Ironman triathlon and then make it 3 times harder. That's like the coast to coast, and it's different events too. And it's through cross country terrain. It's just nuts. And one of the champions of that, multiple champions of that, was a student of Greg's. And I used to train with Greg all the time, and he used bands to help, you know, train the supporting muscles. And yeah, so I mean, I think a lot of people dismiss the bands unfairly, and the X3 bands are a whole different ball game, right?
Yeah. James asks a question, by the way, a follow-up question. So what would you recommend to learn more about your protocols? I'll check out the X3 system. To clarify, they're not really my protocols. It's Dr. John Jakewish's protocol. He's the inventor of the X3, and you get the protocols with the system.
Yeah.
So all the instruction about, you know, the 15 reps versus 40, when to switch bands, how to go to failure, as well as the core training is basically a push day and a pull day. So just alternate push day, pull day. And that's a great place to start. Other people have come up with training programs, that mix things up a bit. So, but starting with just the basic training is solid.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm going to go back to James's other question about how to find this in the member area. So I'm going to log in with my nerdy Mr. Spock demo account. And if you log in to your Simpleology account at my.simpleology.com, here's the training window, the training tab, and this, you guys can get in and out of the school layer. This is a demo account. These are not real daily targets. But here's the training. And then if you go to the community, you guys can see everybody sharing all their wins in here. Hey, there's Ryan Healy saying he did start my day. That's awesome. So anyway, you guys can see our community is very different than any other community on the internet. There are only two things you can do. You can share wins and encourage people for their wins. And you can see just the floods and floods of people in here doing that every day. And you can click on here and watch the lives, and you can see the calendar for the lives here. There's all kinds of other cool stuff I would love to share, but just to answer the question, that's there.
Cool. And oh, interesting. I shared a comment and it went all over there.
That's cool.
It's not, I mean, it's kind of an affiliate link. It basically gets you $50 off the system, and I get like an in-store credit. It doesn't actually send me a paycheck or anything like that, but
nice.
It saves $50 if anybody wants to use it. So
$50 is $50, man. So yeah. RyanHealy.net/X3, RyanHealy.net/X3. It is Ryan disclosed it's a sponsored link, but it'll save you $50 if you guys are interested in that. Totally unplanned and very awesome for Ryan to be like on the spot coming up with an affiliate link. That's this is how entrepreneurship works well, right?
Yeah.
And that was in response to James's question. He asked, hey, do you have an affiliate link for X3? And I'm going to share that and we'll leave that up here for a minute. So how did you find out about X3, by the way? I think I heard about it from Tony Huge first.
I'm kind of an early adopter with some things, and I believe I got a Facebook ad for it back in 2018. So I responded to that and purchased it. And back then the training wasn't as good. I mean, he was just getting started with that back then.
Yeah.
I think I bought it within the first 2 or 3 months or something. But honestly, I didn't really fully understand the hows and the whys and all this stuff. I didn't understand everything at first.
Yeah.
It was later when Dr. John Jaquish wrote his book, Weightlifting is a Waste of Time. And I read that book, and then all of a sudden I went, oh, okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
I was like, I should have been doing this, this way for a long time. And that's when I started. It was right after I read the book.
How long have you been doing it now? Like, I'm curious if you've done any measurements and compared. But so when did you start?
2022, summer of 2022.
Okay. And what do you think? Like, have you done any like N=1 science on that, or do you have any opinion after? I mean, obviously you're doing well if you've been doing it for 4 years.
Yeah. So what was the question? Do I have, say it again?
Well, what is your just opinion after doing it for 4 years? Do you have a subjective opinion, or do you have any like measurements that you've done to compare it to other protocols? What are your thoughts there?
I wish I had something more objective to give you. I find that it works great for me to be, sometimes you may have heard this before. The best workout program you'll ever do is the one that you actually do consistently. So whatever it is that you can do consistently, in X3, I can do consistently because it compresses a workout into such a short amount of time. Yeah. And I've always been really pressed for time and struggled to get to the gym, say 3 times a week, because I've got a big family, I'm running a business. And by the time I get ready to go to the gym, drive to the gym, work out, come home, shower, change, I'm like, man, it's 1 hour bare minimum, but it's more like an hour and a half to 2 hours total. So for me, that was just really difficult. Whereas X3 is very portable. It fits anywhere in your house. Step outside. I don't even get into gym clothes to do it. I'll just do it in whatever I'm wearing. And so that makes it a lot easier for me to be consistent. And so objectively, I know I've been much more consistent with it than any other thing that I've ever done. At the same time, though, I was changing my lifestyle. I was quitting alcohol, and I also became more committed to carnivore. Up until that point, I'd been experimenting with it for a couple of years. And just to be clear, I'm not eating strict carnivore right now, and I haven't been for a while. It actually created a lot of domestic drama.
That happens.
So, but during that time, I was pretty strict for like 18 months to 2 years, somewhere thereabouts. And I was just doing X3, and I lost 30 pounds. So I lost 30 pounds, got lean, built muscle. So it was a complete body composition change. And I've been able to, I haven't maintained the weight loss entirely, but that's partially because of cycling so much and continuing to add muscle, but also reintroducing carbohydrates because of the cycling. Found that I could do about 30 miles, and ride pretty hardcore for about 30 miles on carnivore and ketosis. But after about 30 miles, you start to experience some unpleasant, side effects of not having glucose easily available to your muscles. So I was pretty hardcore on carnivore, and I'm like, maybe I need to reconsider this if I'm going to be cycling a lot.
I'm curious. I know I can tell you from when I did my barefoot half marathon through the streets of Manhattan once upon a time, many years ago, that the carbs that we were getting fed during that definitely had an impact. And I've done, other endurance scenarios where, getting those carbs in regularly. It's almost unequivocal. But I'm very curious. I know that there are people who have done some experimentation with this, but I haven't heard enough to really get a firm opinion. Since you were carnivore before and have been kind of carnivore-ish, have you tried using exogenous ketones instead of the carbs to prevent the bonking?
I have not. I didn't try that. I haven't tried that. I did calorie-free electrolytes, but obviously that's just electrolyte replacement that doesn't really provide fuel.
That's it. Because the electrolytes are not a fuel source, right? But at the end of the day, it's all about ATP. And if your body is keto adapted, the exogenous ketones, even if you're not keto adapted, some say that the exogenous ketones will just go right there. Because I guess the real wall with keto is not the conversion of ketones to ATP, but the conversion of fat to ketones, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I would assume if you're getting like the beta hydroxybutyrate or any of there are various other exogenous ketones, they have liquid forms of those. So it'd be interesting. I'd see if you maybe could get a new KOM.
That would be interesting to find out.
You're going to get somebody complaining though on your app, right? They're going to be like,
that I'm cheating.
Yeah, that's right. You're not allowed to use exogenous ketones. Then we should get the Strava guys to change the terms of service so it says performance enhancements such as exogenous ketones that are over the counter available are not considered cheating.
Surprisingly, I've not come across anything in Strava's terms of service that prevent somebody from taking PEDs, performance enhancing, whatever. It's not in there. It's not in the terms.
Not even in there. Okay.
It's not there, which I thought was surprising because somebody could try to, I don't know what you would do,
Yeah.
doping or whatever.
Right. Well, Lance Armstrong had some pretty effective protocols there.
Yeah, those protocols are for when you're having to cycle massive distances over multiple days. Do you know how that blood doping works?
I know a little bit about that. I mean, I know that there's the compound that increases your red blood cell count, I think. Is that I can't remember the name of the compound, but
Yeah, basically, so when they reach their cycling peak, when they're in peak cycling condition, they extract blood from their bodies.
oh,
And
that one, not the drug.
you're right, blood doping, where you actually pull blood out of your body and save it.
Yeah.
And then during the tour, what ends up happening is your body begins to break down.
Yeah.
And it's eating itself because you literally can't consume enough calories to fuel the body for that length of a effort.
Right.
So then as you're I don't know what day it is in the tour. I think the tour is 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there, they'll start to re-inject that blood back into their bodies. That from when they were at peak.
Okay. I didn't know that that's what he was doing. So I was looking it up as you were saying that, and the compound I couldn't remember was EPO.
Oh yeah, EPO, yeah.
Yeah. And okay, I thought that that's what he was doing, but he was doing the actual blood re-injection. And that's not see, that seems like I don't know why that wouldn't be allowed, right? Because I mean, that's your actual blood.
Yeah,
But
I think he was doing both, I think.
yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah,
The term doping is so broad, it can refer to different things. So
yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Huh. Well, I mean, for me, because I'm not a competitive athlete, I'm like, okay, I just want to perform better. And I'm not, competing with somebody under the false guise of not doing, I want to enhance my performance any way I can. I'm not going to go as far as Tony Huge might, but I'm open to all sorts of possibilities.
Right.
We've got a question here from Kurt Summers. Always deeply philosophical and interesting questions from Kurt. Kurt is one of our business class members. So our business class guys get priority. And by the way, if you guys are Simpleology business class members, you can get on the hot seat. And to do that, all you have to do is send an email to support@simpleology.com. And we can solve all your business problems live in real time. We can do breakdowns of your copy, copy critiques. We can critique your strategy and all kinds of fun stuff. And we've had all sorts of really interesting people show up on the hot seats, people from very, very small businesses to a guy who has an international, intercontinental food robot business, right? So yeah, we take people from the whole spectrum and people who haven't started their businesses as well. Kurt has also been on the hot seat before, and Kurt asks, can AI mentorship and intentional reflection genuinely compress the time it takes to gain wisdom? Are there lessons that can only come from lived experience and consistent action? I'm just going to so happily kick that one over to you, Ryan, because that's
I'll answer the second part first.
Yeah.
Yes, there are lessons I think that can only come from lived experience and consistent action. Certainly lessons that can only be deeply understood from lived experience. Maybe let's say that. Good example, shattering this collarbone. Prior to that, I could only intellectually understand what that feels like. Now I actually really understand what it feels like. And then the first part, can AI mentorship and intentional reflection genuinely compress the time it takes to gain wisdom? Yes, I think that's true. I have used AI and asked it questions about stuff going on in my life. Recently, I think Mark is aware of the situation, some fallout with some cycling buddies because they thought I was cheating. And so the post I ended up sharing on Facebook was I used AI to take everything I had already written, because I had like this 7-page letter and, all this stuff, and it compressed it down. I was like, well, if you want to post it, here's a compressed version for you to post. So I modified it a little bit and posted it. Yeah, the feedback that I've gotten from that has been good for me, but also, I mean, it's all been one-sided. I was expecting to have some people come out against me, but nobody really. So yeah, that was helpful to me, because it's difficult when you're in it and you're going through it and you're trying to be objective in a situation, but I know I'm biased. So
Yeah.
because I'm on one side of it, so AI can help you hopefully gain some objectivity. And it did. It's still, you know, it still pointed out that, hey, regardless of whether you're in the right or the wrong, like let's assume you're right. Well, your goal is still to ride with your friend again. So how do you get there? Like, all this other stuff is just ego. The AI was basically telling me, like, all this, all these people saying, yeah, you're right, they're not really your friends, all this. You knew that was going to happen. That's just puffing up your ego, and that's not ultimately the result you want. The result you want is to be able to ride with your friend again. So how do we get there? You're like, ugh.
That is an impressively wise answer coming from an AI. And that's one of the things that happened. I think ever since around Claude 4.6-ish is where I felt like, okay, AI has really reached a tipping point. They're able to understand things in depth and demonstrate at least a simulacrum of wisdom, right? And it seems to be, pretty, who knows what's actually going on there. That's a whole other conversation we can get into. But yeah, I have seen AI come in with those surprising reflections of yourself saying, hey, is this what you really actually want? And when I first experienced that with AI, I was like, get your nose out of my business. And then I was like, well, wait a minute. Whatever this AI is, it's making a good point. Yeah. I should maintain my individual sovereignty and allow myself to form an opinion about that. I think that's one of the ways that people are going wrong with AI right now, is that they're saying, oh, AI is really smart. Let me just ask AI everything and let's get lazy. I don't think that's a good path for humanity in general.
No.
So we've got to kind of balance those things out a little bit.
Yeah. And I had already spent a ton of time writing my own thing. And on this, I'd spent a lot of time thinking about it. So to tie it back to the overarching theme, speed life hacks.
Yeah.
The reason that this came up for me again was because I'd had coffee with my cycling buddy who won't ride with me anymore. And he had said some things. And so then the next day I'm like trying to work, and some of the stuff he said just kept like, intrusive thoughts, right? They were intrusive thoughts. And I was trying to work and I couldn't work. And I'm like, this is so annoying. I'm like, I'm like, all right, let me see if AI can help me out here.
Yeah.
And so I spent like half an hour, just going back and forth with AI, and then it helped me clear my thoughts. And then I was able to compress it, post it, and then get off my day. So that was kind of nice. So in a sense, it was a speed life hack for otherwise I might've just been sitting there just ruminating and then trying to write things down on my own and having no outside input. So I'm still stuck in my own head.
Yeah.
So,
well, that is I would say a benefit per se, right? I mean, a benefit in and of itself, because, we do have this process of, these open loops that are very powerful and very persuasive on our behavior. And, to use a less technical term for it, people, when they have a relationship fallout, they need to get closure with the relationship. And it's like, it'll eat away at their mind. It's like spyware on your brain for months and months and months. And then it's like, oh, I got to call the person up and then talk to them about it. And it would seem like AI could give you that if it's just like, okay, this intrusive thought keeps coming up. let me talk it out, I think that's an altogether healthy thing, right?
Yeah.
Did it result in, were you ever able to repair that with that friend?
Not yet. You know, obviously I can't ride my bike right now. It's going to be 3 months out, you know, until I can ride outside. Potentially, I might try to ride a trike, but doctor says 3 months before I can ride a standard bike. You know, and putting pressure and everything. So that's mid-September, and the approach until then is I'll keep the door open, which I always have, and nearing that, I'll approach him and just say, "Hey, man, you want to join me for some recovery miles? You know, I want to get back on the bike, and I'd love to have you out there with me." And see what he says. And is he going to let this imaginary rule that he's made up in his mind prevent him from
Yeah.
friendship?
Because it's not even a real rule.
Not.
The terms and conditions say right there, including recumbent bikes, right?
I know.
So
I know.
I think my comment was probably not very charitable. I told him to take it up with his gynecologist. I didn't direct it to him, but in the Facebook post that you made, I'm not as polite as you are sometimes. I try to be polite, but sometimes I can be a little snarky. But it would be fun to see if that. It's interesting that you brought that up and you talked it out, and you're like, hey, let me open maybe I have a blind spot, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I find it very useful when I post these true or false questions on Facebook. Often people will assume that I'm taking one stance or the other when I post it, that I'm saying it's either true or false. But I do it often because I'm like, you know, I have some thoughts about this, but let me see what other people think. And sometimes I'm very surprised at just the wide range of opinions. And some people can't handle that, which I think is a fundamental problem that we need to face as humans. I mean, if we can't civilly sit down with someone and say, hey, I feel very differently about that, and not lose our shit, it's kind of a problem.
Yeah. Anytime I see somebody losing it over the discussion of something, I'm like, okay, you are so far gone and not objective that we can't really have a meaningful conversation about this topic. And I've had that happen multiple times with different people, including family members.
Oh yeah. Well, I think the thing is, for me, like you know, if I start observing that, I'm like, okay, if the theory that when you're pointing at something, you've got three fingers pointing back at you is true, like, all right, if I'm seeing that, is that a reflection of something I need to work on in myself? Maybe it's more amplified in them. Okay, but it's still me, right? So I try to notice in myself. I can see myself. I'm a passionate guy. I like to put passion into everything I do. Sometimes that's a plus. Sometimes not so much, right? Yeah. If I feel myself getting heated about a particular topic, it's like, well, wait a minute, why am I doing that, right? And what is that doing for the interpersonal interaction that, you know, over here?
Yeah.
Is the objective to win the argument, or is the objective to grow as a human?
To grow and or find the truth as much as that is possible.
Find the truth as much as it is possible. I had a conversation recently in a podcast, and I was talking about that notion of in as much as possible. I'm not going to say who it is. Good friend of mine, great guy. He had a lot of difficulty with that in as much as possible part, right? He's like, no, there's an objective truth, and got a little heated about there being an objective truth.
There could be an objective truth.
Yeah.
But are we able to comprehend that is the objective truth, right? Like, how close can you get to it? With our limited human understanding.
I don't know if we have the wetware required to do it. You know, the wetware, the interdimensional wherever consciousness actually is. It seems to be a pretty measurable phenomenon that our conscious mind can only grasp so much. We've got a comment here. I'm going to from Eliza. I need to improve the the interface here so that I can do this a little more. When comments come in on social, StreamYard will allow us to just one click, but when the comments come in through the portal, which are the more higher priority comments, I do have a one-click copy, and then I can move them into StreamYard. So erythropoietin, if I'm saying that correctly, is the factor, that's the EPO we were mentioning earlier, is the factor that causes the formation of more red blood cells or erythrocytes. Thank you for that, Lisa. It's very useful to know.
I still wonder if that stuff is being used in cycling. You know, I don't know.
You know, I actually, when I was in a more aggressive use of performance enhancers phase, I was looking at EPO because I was like, well, it's all on the table. Why not look at it? And I was finding out maybe the juice isn't worth the squeeze on that one because it could form blood clots and all that. I didn't have enough information to make me feel like, okay, this is a safe bet.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Got my buddy from Thailand here, Dave Kavanaugh. I don't know if you guys know of him. He's one of the early pioneers of digital marketing as well. Chiming in. Good to see you, brother.
I recognize his name.
Yeah, really cool dude. James Chapman here. Guys are speaking my language. I love ketones. Get them on Amazon. Best brand is Real Ketones, not an affiliate. I've also been doing 3-day water fasts, which are really powerful. Do you do fasts? I don't know if we've ever spoken about that.
I have. I would like to do more of it. I've done less of it the last couple of years because of the cycling. You know, you can't really put in the miles that I'm putting in on a 3-day water fast. I would have to like not cycle. So I have been thinking seriously about using this time, this recovery time, to do get back to closer to carnivore keto and maybe introduce some water fasting and things like that, because I'm on forced rest. So may as well use it for a metabolic reset.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I think it's hard to find a lens where fasting is not useful. There are even guys who are in the strength community. They're saying, oh yeah, I'll fast and I'll even train while I'm fasting, which once upon a time I would have heard that and thought that's crazy because you're breaking down your muscles and you got to get the protein back in right away. But apparently there are a lot of even strength trainers who are doing it.
I've done it. I started water fasting when I was 16, believe it or not, mainly for spiritual reasons. And I would fast for 36 hours once every week. And I later abandoned that practice. But then when I was a young adult and married, I would do some similar thing, 36-hour water fast. And I would go to the gym and lift. You know? And I was fine. Like, I think lifting probably fine, but riding your bike 30 or 50 miles, probably not fine.
Yeah, there is a thing that happens cognitively when you bonk out.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, and on a bicycle,
yeah,
bad combination.
Yeah.
Speaking to the guy who just smashed his clavicle, that is one thing I would like to not get personal understanding of. I am happy to get your vicarious wisdom of that.
Yeah,
so
I don't recommend it. Yeah.
Don't recommend smashing your clavicle. Okay. I'm going to take your word for it. I don't need to try that out. I haven't heard anybody say, go smash your clavicle and get the gains, bro.
Yeah.
So James also says that he tried to go to, I think, ryanhealy.net/X3 and got a 404.
I think he was trying to go to just ryanhealy.net without any extension. ryanhealy.net is literally just the domain I have set up for some redirects. The .com is the site that works. So
let us know if that works, James, to ryanhealy.net/X3, which is where you're trying to go, I think.
Yeah, if you go to /X3, I tested it. It does work. So.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Getting back to the fasting, it's interesting that you were doing that for spiritual reasons. I think there is obviously, like, almost every spiritual discipline out there has some component of fasting, right? And I mean, Jesus famously fasted for 40 days, right?
Mhm.
And now in the health community, we know that autophagy and the autophagy process that is stimulated through the process of fasting is one of the best. I am not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an accountant. Don't take any advice from me at all. Okay. Go check this out with your doctor. But my read of the literature, if you're a Google Scholar nerd like I am, go check out the relationship between fasting and autophagy and the relationship between autophagy and cancer and what autophagy does, right? It's a very, very interesting process. And I mean, I feel like when I fast, or even if I just do intermittent fasting, like one meal a day, which I try to keep as my default, I feel just generally better. And I think that there's a lot less stress on your digestive system. So many benefits that you can get from it.
Oh yeah. There's a book I read a few years back. I'm pulling it up now. It's by Jason Fung, The Complete Guide to Fasting, and Dr. Jason Fung. So he dispels some of the myths about fasting, like, for example, the myth that you eat your own muscle when you fast. That's not true.
What's the book again?
It's The Complete Guide to Fasting. I can drop the Amazon link.
Oh, okay. Go for it. Yeah, that's
Like,
yeah. Create a redirect with your Amazon affiliate account. If you
yeah,
can.
just a straight Amazon.
Right on.
Yeah, there's
Well, unfortunately, if we put a long URL up on the screen, people can't click it on the. So I'm gonna type his name in. Dr. Jason Fung.
FUNG.
FUNG. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
The Complete Guide to Fasting. I'm sorry, interrupted you. You were saying that.
He dispels some of the myths around fasting. You know, people will say, well, I'm not going to fast because I don't want to lose muscle. Well, that scientifically does not happen. They've studied it repeatedly. And he talks about intermittent fasting, longer water fasts, and different protocols you can follow depending on what your goals are with fasting. One of the more aggressive things that he talks about, if I'm remembering correctly, because I read this a long time ago, was this idea of doing an every other day water fast.
Okay.
So, but if you think about it, if you think about how you're fasting at nighttime, you're going 36 hours with no food, and then you basically have a 12-hour feeding window, and then you're fasting for another 36 hours. But that's what it looks like to fast every other day.
Yeah.
But your eating window is only 12 hours. So it's
kind
of wild to think about. He said that if you do that, you can basically eat pretty much as you want of anything you want.
Yeah.
On the one when you're eating.
Yeah.
Because you will still lose weight.
That's right. Yeah, I've heard some people have this thing where they'll do OMAD, one meal a day, and they're like, I'll eat with impunity, whatever I want. Like, Go ahead, try to cram more calories into that one session. Like, but hey, more power to them. Like, at my age, I don't know if I want to take the risk, but it seems to be working extremely well for a lot of folks.
Yeah.
Did he say anything about dry fasting by any chance?
Oh man, I don't remember if he did. Jaquish was doing dry fasting. He was doing some of that.
Okay.
And talking about how by dry fasting allows basically your body will explode fat cells to get the liquid, right?
Yeah.
So because the fat cell will actually shrink when there's less water in your body, and then it'll, whatever, it's easier for it to break up the fat cells because it's tapping into water since you're not consuming water. Something along those lines. I found it fascinating, but I've never tried it.
Yeah, I've heard people talk about this and I haven't looked, but that's super fascinating. And some people say that it's speaking of speed life hacks, to tie it back in right in our last minute here of the topic for the day, Some people say that you can speed up the elimination of, some of the various, byproducts and toxins, whatever, in your body by doing dry fasting specifically, and that it's much more rapid elimination than water fasting. I don't know. I can't account for that.
I was curious, but I also live at 6,000 feet above sea level in Colorado, where it's super dry. So it's hard to imagine going 24 hours without water, 36 hours without water. Maybe it's possible. At sea level, I could definitely see it's possible. There's so much humidity in the air, just naturally, you're not going to feel as thirsty.
Yeah. I feel like for me, the thing that would stop me from doing it is I don't know if I have that long of a period of time where I will not need myself to perform at a high level. Because
I see. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that dry fasting has got to feel awful. I can't imagine performing at peak on a dry fast.
Yeah. Hey, well, if you try it, let me know how you feel, Mark.
You'll probably know pretty quickly, man. Mark seems to have dropped a few IQ points. So, all right, guys, we're going to wrap it up here. We're at the top of the half hour, and we're getting ready to start the long 4th of July weekend here. Some of you guys around the world watching are not celebrating that, but it's a big one here for us in the United States. It's the big 250. Be very interesting to see what happens there. And if you guys want to, if you're not Simpleology members yet, you want to start a 7-day free trial at the business class level, you can go to simpleology.com/7daybc. You can see the URL scrolling by on the little bar there at the bottom of the window, and try it out for 7 days. And when you log in, it's very, very simple. Log into my.simpleology.com, watch the little video you see on the screen, and do what it tells you. It's just going to take a few minutes, and it will guide you through what we call the very, very dramatic title, The Pathway to Power. And as you will see from the thousands of testimonials that you'll see inside there, it has a pretty profound impact on people's lives. And it's not just philosophical mumbo jumbo. It teaches you to see the world in a different way, but also, as you go along, how to practically incorporate these things into your life using the software. You can actually manage your life, manage your business, manage all sorts of things inside the Simpleology platform itself. And we've got some, just making sure we're wrapping up the last things here. Okay. And with that, we'll wish everyone a beautiful day or night wherever you are. And we will see you guys on the next live hangout in a few days. Take care, everyone.
See you guys.
Boom.